Well, welcome everyone, and we got some old guests that are in the house tonight. I welcome Lee from New York. I hope you keep all the snow up there, though. And I welcome, I see Matt H. is here tonight. We've missed you.
Yeah, good to be back.
Well, first week of Advent, lit the candle. The first candle is peace, isn't it? And so it's a beautiful night how we started. And I thank, before I begin the meditation, I wanted to thank everyone. So many people have reached out to me, and you know, the last 10 days it's been so hectic with my wife. So, but she's home and we're gonna get through it. And there was one thing that she said which was interesting to me in the hospital. She said, I never felt that God wasn't present in the room with me. And she said, the staff, the nurses and doctors, was always the presence of Christ coming into the room. And I said, that was a wonderful gift to feel that. And so I sense sometimes what we do, if anyone, you know, how we do this prayer, the peace, you know, it's funny, when you're away from your routine, when you're not in that regular schedule that you go, you sort of go in a different way, you know, and your prayer life is, you're no longer in charge with it. I think all you can do is just surrender. And that's a beautiful gift, what we learn over the years in AA, in love, in service, and in remembrance. And that's what we remember tonight, isn't it? First week of Advent, we remember that we were made for something far more, weren't we, than who we are. I sense in these times of deep uncertainty and division, I find myself asking basic questions about the nature of suffering, the sources of conflict, whether they're internal or external, and the possibility of peace. I seem to listen so often in my own daily routine in my walk. I'll plug into something, a podcast, Franciscan, Ignatius. And I seem to listen, and it always seems to spark something inside of me. And it speaks of a dedication to meditate and to practice it. And finding our mantra when we can't even utter the word. And I find myself just groaning, walking. It's like chanting. But I sense it's in those moments that it's a pathway for me back to myself. And the universal gift that we inherit that love will never separate from us, and that it resides in us all. And it is truly amazing, I sense, to experience the awareness that arises from paying attention by stopping. And we find purpose in the present moment, separated from judgments and biases. You know, while these practices transcend, I sense, from our own belief system, they don't belong to any particular religion or culture. They're not Eastern or Western, ancient or modern. These qualities into the door of silence that we witnessed in the room here tonight are a natural expression, I believe, of our deepest humanity. What is available to anyone excludes no one if they are willing to cultivate them. The understanding is that all these manifestations are expressions of the one true God, of which we all belong to, that we're all part of. And what matters most is not which tradition the practice comes from, but whether our practice actually works. When you're distressed and feeling lost, when you stop, and that groan that comes out of you, dear God, help me. Does it help to free us from suffering in those moments? Does it open our hearts to a greater sense of compassion and love? Does it lead us towards wisdom rather than this monkey mind of increased division? This open approach, I sense, it allows us to draw wisdom from all these various traditions while maintaining the depth that comes from a committed practice on a daily basis of taking that quiet time. You know, spiritual growth requires something of us. It truly does. It's a commitment to a practice. And it can be in the morning, or the evening, or the afternoon. Whatever form of meditation and prayer, mindful walking. It all brings us to moments of conscious awareness in routine activities. God is there. I sense that the form of how we get there matters less than our intention and consistency. But it's the willingness to show up day after day when no one else is looking. I'm learning that devotion to meditation practice, it isn't some big dramatic gesture, brothers. Most of the time, it looks like I'm doing the thing in a regular, unremarkable way, over and over again, and letting that be enough. And this isn't a mindless repetition, brothers, or a devotion without intention. But it's a way of not holding up practice in some Pollyannish form, no, you taught me to take my seat, like here tonight, to sit upright, not uptight, let go. You see, by the regular engagement, we are slowly training our minds to come to our heart. Rather than getting lost in all this mental wandering. Where are you? And what we develop, I believe, is the capacity, by God's grace, to see things maybe for the first time. As they are. And that we can love more freely, without expectation, and act with a greater sense of knowing, wisdom, and separate ourselves from the selfishness and discover compassion. As we deepen our understanding of our minds and hearts. It's through this practice tonight, fellas. Something remarkable happens. It's the stretching of our hearts. And our capacity for compassion. God so loves us. and it naturally expands. We begin to see the others in our lives and their struggles with the same fundamental challenges that we have. We. This recognition, I sense, is the beginning of softening our judgments, and it opens our hearts. And these practices, well, I sense that they teach us to notice our habitual, automatic reactions to difficult situations. People, even especially those we love. And emotions. We learn it's possible to bring ourselves to the present moment, be. And sometimes choose a different way of responding. These are simple instructions, brothers. It says, love everyone, serve everyone, and remember God. These are an invitation, I believe, to wholeness and a recognition of the common thread that truly runs through all authentic spirituality. And it's the cultivation of our innate goodness resting in a loving awareness. That's what we do. We rest in a loving awareness and being of service to one another. Holding one another up tonight in this room. You have that power and that gift to do that this evening. We all bring a lot of spiritual baggage into the room, brothers. There's many of us, I sense, I think of that story, that are overtaken by a storm traveling by sea. But they don't worry about their luggage. They start throwing it overboard with their own hands, considering their property to be less important than their own lives. So why don't we, tonight in our prayer, throw some of it overboard? Throw out whatever drags your soul down into the depths. So my Christmas wish in this first week of Advent to us all is what Jesus proposed to his disciples as the way is his own example. That's the gift. The forgiveness of everything and everyone, and the service of others in their needs. And his final teaching was love. to love one another as I have loved you. We have come to know and to believe in the love God has for us. I pray you feel it tonight. God is love. And whoever remains in love remains in God. And God in him or her. That was Jesus' words. So it's a wonderful night, fellas. I love yous. It's a wonderful sense of Christmas that we're going into. And you've grown a lot over the years in the gift of this prayer in the room, because I've seen it in your reactions and how you live. And I'm very grateful for that. It's authentic and it's real. So, I'm going to ask Matt, can you? And I'll lead us into the silence, fellas, okay? Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still